You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, and exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society.
Well, hello everyone, and we are so glad that we see so many people coming into our network tonight. We really appreciate your presence, friends, and we really appreciate it when you speak up and talk as well. That means so much. So many people right now are exiting the Watchtower. As we say, the Watchtower is hemorrhaging. It's on life support. It's in intensive care. It is going down the drain. And we are exposing the Watchtower on our programs tonight. And I have to tell you, and I tell you this every week, I get excited. I get very excited that we have so many things to report on showing how flagrant, how debased, how corrupt the Watchtower organization is. Well, I'm glad you're with me. My name's Rick Farron, and I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world, right up here in Boston, Massachusetts, where we have a lot of apostates up here. And I think the reason why we have apostates here is, this is like in the 200 miles really from the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses. But I have to tell you something. There's a lot of people here that are just fed up, and not because we're close to the Watchtower, but I think a lot of people have descended from the Watchtower and settled here in Boston, and they've had enough of this organization for twisting the truth. Well, we've got so much to talk about tonight, as I say. I just wanted to bring up also, I got a few things I wanted to talk to you about concerning what's going on here at the Six Screens. Now, I want you to know that we do have a protest coming up on the 20th of July. That's a Saturday. Now, that's about a month away. And I want you folks to come and protest with me if you can. I think it'll be wonderful. Now, it's on a Saturday. It's at the regional convention up here in Lowell, Massachusetts. And boy, if you could come and be with me, I think you'd find it very exhilarating. So if you're in the New England area or you want to come in, I do have a family, I do believe, coming in from California that wants to protest with me. And I'm looking forward to that. But here is what's going on. It will be at the Songus Center. We'll be there, probably around noontime, which will be July 20th, 2024, just in a month from now. And what we're doing, because it's on a Saturday, we have our program, of course, on Saturday night. So I rented a hotel suite at the Hilton Hotel, and we're going to do our broadcast live from the Hilton Hotel. And there will be Jehovah's Witnesses staying there as well, but we're going to go light on them. We're going to go light on them, but we rented a suite. And we hope to have even some of the PMOs that might be going to that convention come up, and maybe we can put a mask on them or a bag over their head, and they can tell us about what they thought of the convention and what's going on in the Watchtower. So that'll be live streamed. We're going to live stream a good part of the event, and that'll be July 20th, 2024. And I want you to tune in. I know it's going to be good. I want you to see what we observed last time we protested at this convention. All the witnesses leaving. We have a beautiful venue, a beautiful spot. They can't miss us as they drive by. And I want to see what kind of cars are they driving. Last year they had, was it last year or 2 years ago? I think it was last year, yeah. They were driving beautiful cars. I don't know if the Watchtower witnesses are getting more rich or what, but it was nice. They had nice Volvos, Mercedes, Teslas. So we'll see what they're driving this year. And they're not going to miss us. We had people giving their thumbs up. They stopped. They took pictures of us. So why don't you try to make it up here? Now, here's what I'm going to say. I've got that hotel room. It's a beautiful suite. And it sleeps 6 people. So the first people to claim it, I'm not going to stay there. I'm going to do the program. Then I'm going to go home. I live about 3 miles from the Hilton. So the first people that can come and want to claim that hotel room for the night, they can sleep all night there in a beautiful hotel room in the Hilton. There's a pool, there's a fire pit, you get a free breakfast in the morning. So why don't you write me at JW World News and say, Rick, I'm coming to the protest. and that room's yours. The first one that writes me and tells me they want it, it's yours. All right, so that's the protest, but let's not confuse that with our ex-witness convention. Yes, still alive in 2025. Well, we're going to have a convention, not this August, not 2024 August, but 2025 August. August 1st, 2nd, 3rd. We're going to have the biggest and the first real ex-witness Jehovah's convention. We already have well over 200 people booked in. I got the tickets. They're going to be emailed out to you. So don't you worry. You're getting the tickets. I just had a few finishing things that I had to take place before I mailed them out with the hotel, what's available and all that. But all those people wrote to me, I have you down. I got a list of all you guys, so you'll be getting your tickets very shortly. Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. And of course the duck. Oh my goodness, you see the duck over here, right? That's the duck. Now, if you guys remember the old Groucho Marx show, Groucho Marx, what he used to do is people who came on the program, if they said the secret word. Now, I have some secret words in this envelope right here. I've got 4 or 5 different secret words in here. And Groucho Marx would give people a prize if they said the secret word in the context that they were, in the narrative that they were talking. The same thing here tonight. If you call into our program, or I'll try to do it. I try to watch it on YouTube and Facebook, but it's almost impossible. The best way to really win a prize is call into the program. So I want you to know that if you call into the program and say the secret word, you automatically win a nice book. Well, let me show you something. I want to show you something. I am so pleased. I want to thank our good friend Jim Hill. He's out west. I want to thank him for the books he's sending us. You might know him as Nathan Natus. He's on JWN. That's a forum online. Well, take a look at these books. Take a look at these books. This one's called The Desolation of the Sanctuary. You want to learn about Jehovah's Witnesses and how they're really destroying God's sanctuary? How about this? Captives of a Concept. Have you heard of this book? Don Cameron. This book helped my wife Susan so much get out of that fraudulent organization. Captives of a Concept. We've got this book. Look at this. Look at the beautiful book. A People for His Name. Oh, this is a wonderful book. Talks all about the fraudulent activities of the early fathers of the Watchtower. So we're looking forward to that. And how can we not bring this up as well? You know this one. Millions Now Living Will Never Die. So we got these books. I want to give them out tonight. So if you say the secret word, you get it. But if not, stay to the end of the program. And what we'll do at the end of the program, what we will do is we will give the books away. We'll give you some clues to the program. So we're looking forward to that. So let's go forward. I'm going to bring Mark in. Mark, let's be very brief. I'm trying to get into the news, okay? Did you want to say something, Mark? Okay. Yeah, Mark, we're right in the middle of the news broadcast, so mute your phone for now. Later on, come on and talk to us, okay? We're right in the middle of the news broadcast, yeah. So I'm going to mute you, Mark, okay? Don't unmute yourself. Leave yourself muted. All right, we got a lot to talk about here tonight. As I said earlier, there's a big buzz and a big thing going on in the witness world. You know, they have not come out with the August study edition of the Watchtower 2024. They have not come out with that yet. What is going on? This is the first time I can ever remember the Watchtower delaying, kind of deliberately delaying, you could say, the Watchtower for some reason. Now, a lot of people are speculating. I'm speculating, but it's just speculation. But I'm beginning to think there's some things in that Watchtower that, you know, they're really scrutinizing and looking at before they release it. But the September edition is out. That just came out a couple of days ago. So the September Watchtower it's been leaked out. I don't know if all the witnesses have it yet, but I got some leaks that came into the 6 screens that kind of give us an idea of what's going on. This is September Watchtower. But let me just kind of clarify here what's been going on. The August Watchtower Study Edition, as I said, is not out yet. It's really something that's unusual. Usually the Watchtower has that out, but somehow they're holding back. And there's all kinds of speculation thinking, why? Now, I went, I perused, looked through the September 24 Watchtower, and I'm thinking that, maybe it's going to be a follow through to some degree in what they're going to be bringing up in the August Watchtower. But let me just say what I'm thinking could be in the Watchtower. Friends, this is just speculation. That's all it is. Don't take it to the bank and cash it. But I'm finding that they're going to have to get more, the flock that is, the rank and file Jehovah's Witness has got to get more obedient to God's representatives on earth today. They have to have total reliance. This is what this cult has got to do to get people to stick, because there's so many people leaving. So they have to have total obedience to God's representatives on earth. Of course, that would be the faithful and discreet slave. Of course, we know them as the governing body, of course. Now, no matter how crazy their orders or proclamations may be, and we've already been, well, the witnesses have been told through 3 Watchtower publications I know of that said no matter how unsensible and not sensible something is, go along with us. So I'm thinking that there's going to be crazy orders, no matter how crazy they are on these orders or proclamations. They just want the rank and file to listen, obey, and of course, donate. That's what I think. I think you're going to see some of this. I'm just thinking out loud. There may be some specific instructions. We know right now the Watchtower is doing everything they can to hide the sexual child abuse. They're doing everything they can to kind of persuade countries like Norway and Belgium and Sweden and Japan. They're trying to do everything they can to persuade them that we don't really destroy families. We don't really do anything deliberately to hurt people. Well, they shun people. We know this. But they're trying to find a scapegoat. They're trying to find a way that they can soft pedal this. And I think that's why they're really holding back on the Watchtower for August. I think they're going to probably release some new lights. I'm not sure. But right now, what I feel as reading the Watchtower is kind of weekly. I go through it before I do the news. But I'm seeing the Watchtower is using extreme cult intimidation tactics. Yeah, just like Scientology. We know how bad Scientology is, right? Well, the Watchtower is using the same intimidation tactics. As a matter of fact, they are telling the witnesses, I know they're going to tell them, because they're already telling them in the September edition, so they're probably going to carry forth and say the same thing or something close to it in the August edition when it's released. They're going to have to strengthen. They are going to have to strengthen the faith in the channel. That is the faithful and discreet slave. People are just zoning out. They don't want anything. Many people are looking at these bearded nutcase buffoons, and they're really ready to just exit the Watchtower. So the Watchtower is going to try everything possible to strengthen the faith in the channel. They got to get people to show more faith in the screwy, faithful, and discreet slave class. And they'll be ready. The faithful and discreet slave, don't you worry. They're going to be ready to issue life-saving instructions. Oh, that's just what they do, right? The Watchtower was always giving us witnesses when I'm not one now, but when I was a witness, we always had the life-saving instructions. And I know they're going to ramp up in the August edition when it comes out, that, you got to face the tribulation. You got to face the tribulation. Because I'll tell you that they're talking about it in the September edition. So, right now, friends, and I don't have to tell you because sometimes I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but there are numerous countries investigating the Watchtower. And the Watchtower, this is worldwide too, not just in one country. I know of at least 12 countries that are investigating the Watchtower for the covering up of child sex abuse, covering up and protecting pedophiles. Also, countries investigating them for the physical abuse of children, Japan particularly here, and also countries investigating them for shunning. That is a deplorable practice, and the Watchtower engages in that. So we get so many human rights violations, and the Watchtower has to do something to kind of cover it up, right? Because countries are starting to investigate. So they're going to say all kinds of things. When I bring up the September Watchtower in just a few minutes, you're going to be really surprised what they're telling the rank and file in there. So I think they're going to, in August, even though it's supposed to be out already, I think they're going to talk a lot about this, because I'll tell you right now, if you've been following it, Montana, have you been following what's going on with the Jehovah's Witnesses in Montana? It's a huge thing. Well, Mark O'Donnell, we know him. He's a former Jehovah's Witness, and he does a great job giving us legal information on court cases, specifically child sex abuse. Now, there's a case going on in Montana, and in the last couple of years, we've had one of the women that was abused out there on this program. She can't come on now because it could be, kind of following up the court case. But in Montana, there's a lot of pedophilia going on, elders and witnesses being hidden, not reporting it to the authorities. So this has been going on for a long time, like for 5 years. They have been having trouble with child sex abuse. So now what the Watchtower is doing, they were going to go to court, and they've been waiting. In fact, in just another 2 months, a court case was going to start. But guess what the Watchtower did? Now they said that they wanted to settle with the victims before it went to court. Well, isn't that convenient? Why do you think the witnesses, Jehovah's Witness organization, Watchtower, why would they want to settle with the victims before they go to court in just 2 months? Well, already the judge seemed to not like the Watchtower lawyers. They were scolded and they were fined by the judge multiple times. So they're off to a bad start in Montana. They are in deep doo-doo in the state of Montana, and the Watchtower knows it. So, just think about it. They don't want to go through court. Just pay them off. Just pay them off. I think it's somewhat sickening when you stop and think about it. And this is all happening as we speak. This is all relatively new information. And we're very thankful that Mark McDonald is willing to share this information with us, because he covers these cases, like I say, of child sex abuse. Local governments, as well as world governments, are tuning in on Jehovah's Witnesses. They really have a close connection here. They're really seeing and examining, putting the witnesses under the microscope. And when I stop and think about it, why wouldn't the governments put the witnesses under microscope? Do you realize how much money the Jehovah's Witnesses have caused the governments to have to dish out when you displace families? Every government on the planet, every single country, every single sovereign country wants a good family connection. They don't want families being broke apart. Because think about it. What happens when families are broken apart? Who ends up paying? The people, the government. Children displaced. Usually the father takes off. Families divorced. Not a good thing. It costs the government. The government does not need a cult. Ruining families. They break up families. We all know that. So, but the witnesses, what they're doing to kind of divert people's attention, that they're constantly to cover up all of these child sexual abuse and the idea that they're shunning people. What the Jehovah's Witness organization is doing is they are really harping on the Great Tribulation. That's what they're harping on, including in the September article. But I'm sure it's going to come up in the August when it's released as well. So they are telling people, how many times have we said it on this program, not to watch the news or not to read newspapers? because it's all apostate lies. They want to keep the rank and file's head buried in the sand. That's what the Watchtower wants to do. So I just wanted to bring that up. There's a lot going on, but the witnesses still do not have a Watchtower study edition for August 2024. That's just, a month away, really, when you stop and think about it. Very close. Now, did someone want to say something? Go ahead. We've got, it looks like Dick Boogie. Come on in, Dick.
Yeah, hi, it's Constance. I was going to say what's interesting about the Montana case is Philip Brimley is the top legal attorney for Watchtower. And for that case, because of his line and the lies that he had in the court of law in the Montana, Watchtower was fined $154,000. I don't know if the audience knows that, but you can see where Watchtower does not want the rank and file, of course, to know that they lied, especially their top legal attorney. And they're just trying to settle because, the courts really see Watchtower and their representatives, the legal department, for who they really are. So thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you, Constance. Good to hear from you. Yeah, that's a Constance Borgie. Now, she has a program on it. Is this the King of Dots?
Yeah, unfortunately it is.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'd like to introduce myself in a very improper way. But I was on Quorum today. I don't know if you know what that is. I asked the question of Google, do Jehovah's Witnesses help illegal immigrants? And it was flooded with witnesses talking. Quorum is flooded all over. I looked for every other question associated with illegal immigrants. They were giving us stories about how they help people out in filters. They find groceries all the time. Look, some propaganda push is going on big time. And they literally took over every comment. Some of them had 6 pages long of stuff claiming that Russell never was a Jehovah's Witness. It didn't get formed until 1925 or 1931. Let me tell you, we need to debunk that 100%. That's their story, and they're sticking to it. We didn't start. They're way after Masonic Russell. So I just want to alert everybody of what's going on out there. And I just want to give a brief personal thing that happened to me today, because I like to talk about myself. No, I'm kidding. Joking. No, I don't. Well, I got you. Anyway, my wife took the picture at a local grocery store opening. I said, I don't know who that is. Got a kid with her. It's like she comes home and tells me, you don't remember her? Well, what's her name? I don't remember. Anyway, it was the last time I went to a meeting. My wife wasn't there, and this 21-year-old sits next to me. Who is she? It's my stepson's little girlfriend from like 10 years ago. She's still in the truth. She just told me she just got separated from her husband. And she sat next to me at the meeting because she knew me like a father, Anyway, at the end of the meeting, one of the elders comes up and says, why are you with her? Why are you sitting next to her? I got the whole 100% stuff. I said she was a childhood friend of my kid. So they insinuated I was up to no good. I walked out. That was it. I was done. That's really the last meeting I ever went to. I just want to tell you, these people, there's nothing but evil on their mind. And I simply couldn't take it anymore. Thank you, Rick. That's all I got to say, buddy.
Well, I mean, that's a mouthful. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you.
Bridget.
Yeah.
Her name was Bridget. Yeah,
Oh, Bridget. Well, that's a nice name. My goodness. Well, thank you for coming on, King of Dots. Thank you. Appreciate that. So what we got here, we got the Watchtower Study Edition for September. Now that one just came out, and it was leaked, and I got information, and then it just finally did come out, I guess, a couple of days ago. But what I found of interest in this particular article, now the article, the study edition, first study edition, deals with enjoy the greater happiness that comes from giving. Well, the Watchtower wants to talk about happiness for giving. I mean, I don't see much giving going on in the Watchtower. But let me just read it verbatim. I'm just going to read paragraph 9. I want you to see this because, friends, I'm telling you, the Watchtower lies through their teeth. But we know that. We know that. That's another story. But let me start reading this paragraph 9. It's not a big paragraph, but it says that though we are imperfect humans, we can imitate Jehovah's generous use of power. We cannot literally impart strength or energy to others, but we can use our power in their behalf. For example, we might run errands or do household chores for the elderly or infirm Christians. In our circumstances, if our circumstances permit, we could volunteer to help with the cleaning and the maintenance of the Kingdom Hall, or use of power in such ways that would benefit others who worship Jehovah. When we are generous, especially toward our brothers and sisters, they often express their appreciation in return. Well, I'm just going to pick on this for a second. So first of all, the article starts off in paragraph 9. It says that we can really use our energy in helping our brothers and sisters, the elderly ones. I mean, did you really know many elderly Jehovah's Witnesses that were helped by the people in the congregation? I have to tell you, I could go on for an hour just talking about this. They talk a good game, but they don't help. They would visit the infirm, but in many cases they visited the infirm, going to the hospitals and what have you, just so they could report time. Now, I don't want to make a blanket statement here because there are some witnesses that do come and help and work, but most of the witnesses, they will not go out of their way for elderly Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, never mind going out of their way to even help a worldly person. Now, then the Watchtower goes on here to say in paragraph 9, if our circumstances permit, we could volunteer to help with the cleaning and the maintenance of the Kingdom Hall. So they switch from helping the elderly, and they more or less say, if you have time, in other words, don't help anybody, come clean the Kingdom Hall and take care of the maintenance work that has to be done at the Kingdom Hall. It says, now this is what really got me. I had to underline this as I was going through it. Now the Watchtower, I'm reading this right from the September issue. Our use of power in such ways benefits others who worship Jehovah. So, in other words, only those who worship Jehovah. Well, why can't you help your neighbor? Why can't you help your friend at work? Well, they're worldly, right? We really can't help them. But this article here, I had to underline it. It says that the use of our power can benefit others who worship Jehovah. Not the average person, but they have to be able to worship Jehovah, then you can help them.
What happened to the story of the Good Samaritan?
I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, he went out of his way. He went out of his way to help that Samaritan. He didn't even believe what that Jewish man believed, but he helped him.
The Samaritans were seen as kind of an enemy tribe, and yet he paid for the man to get well in the room and asked nothing in return. Isn't that a beautiful humanitarian way to live?
Well, not only that, it's a statement, it's a story that has been passed down through the eons of time. And there's a moral to that story, Pixie. You help people. You help people, whether you're kind or not. And that can cover so many bases. It can cover interracially, interreligious. It can mean all kinds of things, but it's just saying help your fellow man. The Watchtower does not do that. Pixie,
they don't read their book and they don't read the Bible anymore. And they used to have the pioneers and the Gilead graduates had to read the thing through. And when they made that Prodigal Son show, they had good production values, but they missed the whole point of that story too.
I have to tell you, the Watchtower Society has never, as long as I have been involved with them, put this parable of the Samaritan man that was helped into practice. And that they never have. I never really seen it. Even being a witness, I have seen so many poor witnesses that were really down and out on their luck. I mean, really poor, poverty stricken. And I never, in fact, I've asked in my early days of doing this program, has anyone ever been helped by the Watchtower Society? No. So if they can't help even their own kind, do you expect them to reach out and help someone else? They're their help, Pixie. Their way of expressing help is they help people spiritually. They help people
It's just not biblical, though, and you and I know this. It's just not biblical not to apply it in the humanitarian way. And I was watching one of the podcasts, and they were showing a clip from the assembly where this dashing black brother gets up and starts asking for money. It literally turned my stomach. Didn't Russell say the day they ask for money, the Holy Spirit's gone out of the whole deal?
That's what he said. He said they had that. He said that Jehovah's their backing, and the day they have to make or ask for money, that's it. Jehovah's not with them. That's what he said.
And they picked one of their best to stand up there and ask for money. And when he started doing the pitch, I had to turn it off. I'm not usually affected by things in broadcasting, but it kind of broke my heart because of how they used to never ask for money. It's unprecedented that they don't have a watchtower this month. That in 100+ years, that's never happened. So that must be a doozy of an issue, don't you think?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm waiting for this August edition to come out because there's going to be a lot of asking. There's going to be a lot of, make sure that you're following the faithful and sweet slave. That they're going to try to do everything, but I think they're also going to be pinpointing or at least elaborating on the fact that the nations are picking on them. They're being persecuted, and don't believe things you hear in the news. There's going to be a lot coming out of it. Unbelievable.
Another thing I remember when the draft was in full force decades ago now. And many of the young brothers had to go into court. And for them to get deferments, they had to know their scriptures to convince the judge as individuals. So I just have sympathy for those 17 to 27 or whatever they're going to be. And they better learn the scriptures when they go to talk to the judge. And it's just sad that they're not allowed to take hospital work or be a ambulance driver or something, because I got my own views on that too. But I'm glad to be free. I read a beautiful article today in one of my college alumni magazines. They're thinking perhaps in medicine that cold plasma might solve cancer. So we have to open our minds to what science can do for us and be hopeful on things.
Well, there you go, Pixie. Well, thank you, Pixie. Thank you very much. Boy, I'll tell you, that's good news if that could be the case. Real good news. Very good. Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Rick. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rick. When I was on earlier, I know you had to speak up. I was away from the phone, so you couldn't hear me, and I was in the bathroom. So I'm very, very sorry about that, Rick. I do apologize. I heard you talking, but I was too far away. You know what I mean? So, I didn't mean to be rude or anything like that. So please forgive me if you felt I was being rude. I do apologize. Just wasn't close up to the phone.
That's okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no problem. Okay, thank you, Mark.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I hope you weren't real upset or anything.
Oh, no. I wasn't throwing a hissy fit or anything. I mean, it's water off a duck's back. It's not a problem. Don't worry.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, Rick. I apologize.
Well, no problem. You don't have to apologize. There's no problem. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Just sorry about that. Just sort of a misconception.
That's okay. No, don't worry. We love you, Mark. Don't you worry about it.
Understanding.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. I just thought I'd tell you I'm very sorry, but okay. But yeah, Rick. You got a strong point. Everything you're saying here, and yes, I'll tell you the truth. In my experience, yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses. When I was involved in that real screwball, real just bullshit cult, yeah, they never were there
needed it and really needed them. They just never were. I mean, and that was usually 10 times out of 10. They just were not there for me. So I went to that, and I was wondering, come on, Good Samaritan, they teach this stuff. The animal, they don't do it. They don't practice what they preach. None of them were Good Samaritans. Not my experience. I mean, I did a lot for them, including the guys I was friends with. I did quite a lot for them, but they did very little or next to nothing for me, and I'm not trying to be selfish. I know it's better to give than receive. I get it. And, but I mean, I'd say I was more a Good Samaritan for them than they were for me. Like I said, they were just not really there for me at all, like ever. So I know what you mean, Rick. It's a joke. They're a total joke when it comes to that. Being a Good Samaritan means you help anybody and everybody. And I'd say that makes sense. What do you think?
Well, of course it does. I mean, I'm looking at that, got the Watchtower right in front of me here, and I'm reading here in paragraph 9, help elderly or infirm Christians. Well, they mean Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, the Christians here mean Jehovah's Witnesses. Then it says, clean and maintain kingdom halls, help others who worship Jehovah, and be generous toward all brothers and sisters. But the Watchtower here never mentions helping anyone that's not one of their members. And they don't even help people that are their members,
That's right. That is correct. And my experience was clearly of that they never helped me when I really needed them at all, like ever. They could have. They definitely could have, but they never really did, like zero, because they were too much into themselves and all about themselves. And they thought, whatever I needed help with, forget it, man. Just follow Jehovah, stay close to Jehovah, do it the way of Jehovah, and the way of the Jehovah's Witnesses, the way of the Watchtower. That was their only real answer that they could specifically give me. That was the only answer they could really give. Other than that, they'd say, well, forget it. You're on your own. Just if you suffer, you suffer. It's your fault. It's your problem, and we don't care. That's just your fault. So if you just stay close to Jehovah and count on Jehovah and follow Jehovah and come back to Jehovah, whatever, then forget it. You're just, we can't help you, and so therefore we're not going to help you, and that's final. And the subject. They made it very clear to me.
Yeah.
So regardless, and I'm like, now come on, especially when I really need you the most. This is the time where I really, really need you, and you're not going to be there for me at all when I really need you. That's downright very wrong, and that's evil. They know it, but that was their whole attitude, 100%. Then they leave me hanging high and dry with nothing, and they abandoned me, and I'm just left stuck, on my own up a creek without a paddle with nobody and nothing. And that was a real tough situation to deal with, especially since I was still in high school at the time. It was my senior year. That was a real big heartbreaker. Oh my God, I was never more hurt in my life. It was just, man, talk about a disaster. Yes, sir. It was a major disaster. It was really tough to deal with. I had to start all over again. It wasn't that easy either. It was very difficult, and not even impossible. Because now I got to start over. I lost out. I got no friends. Nothing, zero friends. I'm on my own. I had to start clean. I had zero friends, and I got to start over on my bad terms with my family and my mother, especially my mother. And things were just not looking good at all. And so at that time, just going to school alone was even more of a major challenge because I'm dealing with bullshit with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's what really hit me the hardest. It put me a lot of major stress and anxiety on me. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, it makes all the sense in the world. It makes all the sense in the world, Mark. I mean, you're a living example of the Watchtower giving two hoots of beans about you. Not only when you were a young guy growing up and trying to walk the narrow path, and at the same time having witness friends of yours and even your stepfather beating the living crap out of you. I mean, really, who needs it? Who needs it? Well, Mark, thank you. Thank you for coming in and being with us. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Rick. And hey, God bless you in every way, Rick. And I wish all the best for all the rest of the XJWs as well.
Well, thank you.
God bless you all.
Well, thank you. They're all listening.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, well, there you go. We've got, does the Watchtower really care about poor people? Do they really care about the widows, the homeless, the orphans, and the handicapped? No way. In fact, I have to tell you something. In fact, I woke up this morning early, and it really bothered me how I acted when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. You know, it always was in the witness world, it was always us versus them. Did you feel that when you were one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, you felt like you were like Mr. Elite or Mrs. Elite, and everybody else was just nothing. You were the king of the kingdom. You really walked and had a great time in life because you were one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and you could give really two hoots of beans, as we say, about anybody else, and you would actually disconnect from humanity. And I did that as a child growing up. And I look back now, I feel like, geez, what a bad person I must have been when I think about it. You know, my mother was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I came in when I was only about 3 years old. So, you know, all the relatives on my mother's side, they were Jehovah's Witnesses. And on my father's side, really, they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. None of them were. So I kind of grew up in a, you know, kind of paying more attention to the relatives on my mother's side because they were witnesses. And then on my father's side, you know, my mother didn't seem to want to get too close to them because they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, is that distorted? Can you see how you can really mix things up in life if, you know, little children hear that? I think that's how racism and everything else starts, when people hear things like that. Yes. What do you have to say? Yes, Mark.
And Rick. Yeah. I was just going to say, Richard, you're exactly right. They should never use that scripture, you know, the Good Samaritan, because the Good Samaritan was referring to someone who wasn't a witness. And in order for them to help somebody who's not a witness, you'd have to have some love in your heart, which they do not have. They do not have love for the world. They hate the effing world. They hate the world. It's Satan's world. They said, I was watching a video today, and the guy was showing assembly clips. And they were showing these people speaking at the assembly, the 2024 assembly. And they were basically saying, they were saying, if you don't listen to the governing body, you will die. I mean, it was that point blank. So what was I going to say? How can we survive? How can we be of any benefit if they're threatening the people inside with absolute death? There's no chance for any of us. We're all throwaways. We're all garbage. So who are they kidding? And I got to tell you, can I tell you an example of what happened this week at a cart out in the middle of nowhere?
Yes.
I was riding my bicycle along the Boise River, and I came along these people that were, you know, cart witnessing in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of a forest. And they were just drinking coffee, and they weren't making eye contact. They weren't looking at anybody. And I rode by them, and I thought, you know, I'm going to go back and talk to them. And so I circled back to talk to them, and I said, how you guys doing today? I said, I'd like to film you. Oh, no filming. You know, we won't have that. We won't. And it was an elder and another guy that had been in there about 50 years. Rick, they bullshitted. They lied after lie. I asked them about 75. No, Watchtower never promoted 75. Watchtower never promoted Generation 5. Watchtower never. Those were just people who got tired and gave up. I said, okay. So anyway, we had this long discussion. It was the governing body has trained these people to go into denial and lie. You know, here's the thing I want to say, and I want to brand it. I've heard this saying, and I want to brand it. And the saying is that ignorance is a choice now. Ignorance is a choice. And those brothers lied their ass off. And said, you guys are following men. Oh, absolutely not. We don't follow men. Well, why are you wearing pants? I asked the lady, why are you wearing pants? And I asked the guy, why are you wearing a beard? Well, no. I said, why are you just doing it now? If you don't follow men, why are you doing that? Anyway, this went on. And then I had to hammer him. And I did hammer him. They said, well, we just want you to know, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, I asked them about the letters that they sent to Russia. I said, why did you guys send those letters to Russia? Don't you think that's a damn dumbass idea to send a bunch of letters to a country and shut them down, to Putin, to a communist country with brothers that are in jail? Don't you think the governing body's trying to get somebody killed? I'm telling you, you follow these guys, you guys are going to be in the same boat. Oh, no. I nailed 2 letters, the guy said. I nailed 10 letters, the guy said. And he was like being an a-hole. And I was like, wow. And he goes, and the guy stood up. He was trembling. This guy, he's an elder, younger guy. I'd say he's probably 45. He got up and he was trembling, just shaking. And I said to him, what the hell was I going to say? I lost my favorite hand. I'll get it. I asked him about Toni Morris. I said, what happened to Toni Morris? And they said, oh, we don't know. And I said, okay, here's my next question. And the guy goes, look, you have a right to believe what you do, and we have a right to believe like we do. And I said, yes, that's absolutely right. I said, the only problem is you're wishing me dead. Oh, absolutely not. We love you, blah, 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 blah. And I said, bullshit. I said, I watched Toni Morris, and this is another huge, massive lie they're starting now. But I said, I watched Toni Morris say the maggots. I don't know where he found the scripture. I said, you guys could find the most gruesome scriptures to talk about people who leave or people who are outside your organization that are going to be massacred, genocided. But I said, he actually said the maggots would not stop eating my body, and he blew out my heart blade. And he got an applause. And I said, so don't tell me that I can go on my way and just go on my way and be, and worship God as I will. I think that that's not true. You guys are wishing me dead. And you know what he said, Rick? This will floor you. He said, you're watching AI. That's not Toni Morris. You're watching AI. Those are all constructed videos. And I said, oh, no,
that's amazing to me that he said that. See, they're going to start using that as an excuse.
Rick, they're feeding these guys bullshit. I mean, lie. He says you're watching AI. He said it so confidently. And I thought, you dumbasses. So here's what I said at the end. I said, I'm going to say one more thing to all of you, every one of you. I said, tell me the truth. And they go, hit us with it. And I said, if they play a Christmas song at the assembly, will you guys stay a witness? And every one of them said, absolutely not. And I said, I'm going to hold you to it. I'm going to be back out on this trail, and I'm going to be at that assembly. And I want to see who applauds when they sing that song, because apparently it's going to be out at the 2024 convention and assembly that AI, all versions of AI, Gemini, ChatGPT, what's the other one? Anyway, there's
Copilot.
The guy
Copilot. Yeah.
100%. I mean, I don't take it too long, Rick. 100% Christmas song. Absolutely looking forward to it. December. Everyone said Christmas. So they said, every one of them said, we will leave if they play a Christmas song at the convention. So anyway, that was our conversation. But man, Rick, I was blown away the snow job that governing body is running on these people. They train these people to lie right in your face with a grin. I mean, you know what I mean? I said, so 200,000 people just said, we don't love Jehovah anymore. Governing body had nothing to do with it. Nothing. They didn't promote it in any way. Stay alive to 75, right? No, absolutely not. Those men just couldn't wait. And they decided to leave and took matters into their own hands. I said, okay, we're done talking. You guys have a good day. But Rick, they're not preaching, but I'm going to tell you what they're doing out there. Here's what's really going on. While they're out there sitting on their ass, doing nothing, not making any disciples, not bringing anybody in, not doing a damn thing with that coffee. And he told me when I was done to go have a beer. And I said, I don't drink. I haven't drank in 22 years. He goes, there's a great place right over there to have a beer. But anyway, I told them, here's what's happening to them, Rick, that they don't realize. While they're sitting out there not doing a damn thing, governing body is brainwashing them to steal all their shit. This is just the beginning of stuff with governing body. Once they push them into their homes for the book studies, get rid of all the halls, I think they're going to go after their money. I know I'm standing out on a limb, but I think, Rick, they're under mind control, heavy-duty mind control, and I think governing body is going to go after everything they got. Why wouldn't they? They're thieves. Anyway, Rick, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, no, that's a mouthful. And Dan, I have to tell you, that's very exacerbating. I mean, that had to really frost your cookie, so to speak, dealing with these people.
Look at Florida. When he says I'm watching AI, that Toni Morris isn't real, it's all just made up. And I heard them say that on jw.org. We got to be very careful today because people are going to mimic the governing body. They're going to put voices on people. So pretty much everything that somebody might see, I think Watchtower's new answer is that AI. That's artificial intelligence. You're not watching it. That's cloning. they're moving there, Rick. That's the new lines they're using. So they're using every snake oil technique they have to deceive people and talking out two sides of their mouth. And Rick, I'm sorry, but I know that people are brainwashed, but to watch people talk outside both sides of their mouth and say that 75 never happened. My uncle told me when my brother died, my uncle told me he's been in there a long time, been on all the committees, couple kids, the whole thing. I asked him, why didn't you guys go back? Why didn't you guys go back when after COVID, after the thing? Why didn't you go back? He said, we didn't need the money. Just like that, we didn't need the money. The world needed the money. Christendom needed the money. Babylon needed the money. We didn't need the money. The organization wanted to make sure we're safe. And we're going, my God, you didn't realize you're selling off your homes? You know what I mean? And so, anyway, it just floors me, Rick, that these people, at some point, they've got to have a tap on their shoulder from the Holy Spirit of truth to say, people, wake up. There's nothing here. It's time to go. It's time to leave. It's time to accept the fact that you've been deceived. It's time to walk away and find God outside this thing. God's waiting for you. Real God is waiting for you outside these man-made lines. Anyway, that's it, Rick.
Wow, that's well. Thank you, Dan, and thank you for standing in there.
Yeah.
These guys have to be challenged, and I'll tell you, that's really something with AI.
And we should challenge them. And I want to say this, Rick. We should challenge them. I want to say we should challenge them because, Rick, ignorance is a choice. And because they want to get out there with people, we should be able to talk to them, Rick. We really should be able to go confront them and say, what are you guys doing? Deceiving people, lying. You got a testimony of false prophecy. Anyway, that's it.
Well, good for you, Dan. Thank you for doing that. Okay, 413. What do you have to say, 413?
How you doing, Rick? I'm Anthony. I was drunk last time I called in.
You were drunk? I didn't notice it.
Thank you.
I didn't notice it. So, are you sober? Are you sober tonight or what?
No, I'm having a couple of beers, but I'm watching the old Six Strings, and I love it. I came out of the truth. I grew up in the Kingdom Hall. It was one of the first Kingdom Halls that ever started, man, and watching that. Indian Orchard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I helped build the Kingdom Hall in Ludlow in 1985. And you know what, man? I went back, Rick. For some time, I went back.
You went back. I mean, how could you do? How could you do that, Anthony? I mean, really, that's terrible.
Rick. I went back and I saw how much the organization has changed, my friend. How much the truth, quote unquote, right? Quote unquote, the truth has changed. It destroyed me, man. I had to go into therapy. I tried to commit suicide. I did all that stuff, man.
I mean, you all right now?
You know what, Rick? I'm a machine for the Navy. I've been a machine for 30 years, sir. And now I'm a machine for the U.S. Navy, and I machine submarine parts.
Wow.
$32 an hour.
Boy.
So I'm good.
Well, I'm glad you're moving, Anthony. I'm glad you're moving in the right direction. You sound very positive. You seem to be totally against the Watchtower. That's what we like, you know.
Yeah, man. I would love to come up there and see you at protest, you know?
Well, geez, maybe you could. I mean, you live in Massachusetts, right?
I live in Springfield, sir.
Well, if you come out to the protest, I'll buy you gas money. How's that? I'll put gas in your tank. You come to.
I don't need gas money, Rick. That's not the issue here. I've already applied for your convention thing next year, and I haven't got a response.
No, nobody. A few people have, but it's all coming out. I was waiting. I've been still dealing, but I keep saying it. I don't want to be a broken record, but I got you down. I do have you down. I've seen you on the list. So in the next week, you'll be seeing some things. You get a ticket. Yeah, you're coming. I want you to come.
All right, my friend. All right, my friend.
All right.
What you do right here? What you do right here
Yeah.
is spectacular. What you do, sir, is nothing short of spectacular.
Well,
In the world, in this world, man, it's a big world, Rick.
well, I'm glad you feel that way.
And,
I'm glad you feel. There's others too.
yeah,
There's others too that could do job.
and we're on those witnesses, and that's a big thing, Rick.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I take that as a compliment. I appreciate it, Anthony. Well, thank you for calling in.
Take that as a compliment, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Anthony.
You're good, big as a compliment.
Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you.
I'm gonna stop talking and now listen.
Well, listen. Well, thank you, Anthony. You're a good man. Don't you ever change. We love you, buddy. Thank you. All right.
Never change, Rick. I will never change. Don't you ever change neither, bro.
All right. Thank you. Well, we got
Yeah, you have good night.
Thank you. Let's bring our good friend Gilbert Gonzalez. Gilbert, you're listening in here. What do you think, Gilbert?
Well, hey, Rick, thanks for having me on, but I hate to sound like a broken record, you know. I just put in the chat section the quote from Mark Twain: "Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience." And the Jehovah's Witness and the governing body have way more experience than you do, Rick. They will beat you with a stupid stick like you've never seen. And one of the reasons why is because they're like petulant children. When a parent lets a child never apologize, imagine raising a child who never apologizes. And imagine a child who never apologizes who has parents who never apologize. That's the Jehovah's Witnesses. And so like, when I'm not trying to speak against Dan was absolutely right, but at some point you have to agree with Mark Twain that it's an exercise in futility to talk to Jehovah's Witnesses. It is a blessing that the Jehovah's Witnesses have shunned us. It is for our protection. Somehow, I believe God Almighty in his infinite wisdom has said, hey, I'm not gonna let these guys talk to you. You guys have suffered enough. So the shunning that the Jehovah's Witnesses give to us really is a protection, because if we were to talk to them, you know, they would beat us with a stupid stick. And it just goes, I'm just trying to say again, Rick, that the power of repenting, the power of apologizing. Alcoholics Anonymous, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, they're the greatest little religion out there, because at least they admit that they're wrong. They admit that they're alcoholics. Jehovah's Witnesses can't even admit to 1914. They can't even admit to 1975. How petulant can a person be? So that's just my take. So the whole thing to your listeners is, a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses don't want to apologize. They say, well, it's not my fault. No, yes, it was. You woke up in the morning, you knocked on doors, you studied the Bible with people. You know, just apologize. And when you do that, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. A burden has been lifted off of you when you apologize for what you did. Stop blaming the governing body, and hopefully, if you're watching this and you believe that we're in the end, okay, you're still a believer in Jesus. Well, what did John the Baptist do before Jesus came? He says, repent, for the kingdom of God has drawn near. And this is what the Jehovah's Witnesses need to hear: apostates apologizing for what they've done. I apologize for the hurt I caused as a Jehovah's Witness elder. I made videos apologizing for selling magazines for 25 cents. You know, I even apologize for flying those airplanes over the convention, and says, if I could go back in time, I just do it all over again. But I still apologize. You know, but I think that's how you argue with the Jehovah's Witness. You apologize for what you did. You don't try to argue with the Jehovah's Witness. You're going to lose every single time. And the Mark Twain quote is proof of it. And you're dead, I'm dead, we're all going to die. No one's going to remember what we said, but they'll still remember what Mark Twain said. You know, the words of Mark Twain are almost like gospel in the Bible. It should have been in the Bible. Never argue with stupid people. They would drag you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Well, Gilbert, thank you for bringing this up. But Dan was just on here,
Yeah.
and he was saying he met some witnesses in the cart work, and so they're saying all of these things you're hearing that are bad about the Watchtower are AI generated. I mean, how do you argue against that? That would be totally upsetting. I mean, you would just say, "Come on, you guys, you really believe that?" So that evidently is what the Watchtower is saying now, that don't believe the apostates because it's all AI generated. You know.
Yeah, Jesus says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything outside of that is from the evil one.
Yeah.
That's the evil one.
Yeah.
It's demonic. And it goes back to my phrase, keep it simple, stupid. If you have to talk to a Jehovah's Witness, you have to keep the conversation and the words short. And like I just told you, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything outside of that is from the evil one. It's not AI, And you just walk away.
Well, I'm glad you came on. You're making me look good tonight. You're making me look good.
I hope I make you look good. Yeah. And that's the purpose. That's the purpose of the caller. You come on the sixth screen, you got to make the host look good, because then Jehovah's Witnesses will listen to the show. And that really is our end game, that Jehovah's Witnesses find the show enjoyable.
I need that help. Thank you, Gilbert. Always good to see you, Gilbert. Thank you, Gilbert. All right. Well, that's Gilbert Gonzalez out of Phoenix, Arizona. While you were on the six screens Telenetwork, we are trying to give you the news the Watchtower doesn't want us talking about. Sam Hurd. Do you know who I'm talking about? He's a governing body member. He's an elderly governing body member. Did you see the newest update on JW streaming? Samuel Hurd is the moderator of it. He comes on. I'm going to give you a little clip. I want you to see Samuel Hurd. I cannot believe this man. This man looks terrible with a beard. Let me tell you something. There's some men that look pretty good with a beard. They really do. And then there are other men that look terrible with a beard. Well, I'm going to tell you, this man, Samuel Hurd, governing body member, he looks terrible. I want to play this for you. So let's see if we can't share this on our screen. And, they're back to their old tactics once again. And their tactics, of course, are persecution. Now, can you see that picture there? Can you see that picture if you're on YouTube? I think you can. But that is Samuel Hurd right there. And he has a beard. He does not look good with a beard. There are men that look good with a beard. There are men that look bad with a beard. That looks like a fake beard to me. He looks bad with a beard. I mean, I'm not trying to pick on the man, but it doesn't look good. So anyways, the reason why I even bring this up, I'm going to play a little bit of it, but I'm not going to play the whole thing, obviously. It's too long, but little things that I extracted from this that's very enlightening. What I see happening here, and I've been viewing these JW streaming, reading their magazines and what have you, what the Watchtower is doing as of late, I mean, they've always done it, but it seems like they're really ramping it up. And what I see watching JW streaming and reading their articles is they're really trying to let the witnesses know that persecution is coming against them. Not only from the apostates and the opposers, but it's coming to them from the governments of the world. And persecution's coming against them. And, Samuel Hurd talks about, first of all, he talks about the conventions. We'll play a little bit of it. I'm not going to play much of it. But he talks about the conventions and how the witnesses really love the conventions. And then they go into some witnesses, I believe it was in Russia, and how persecution's coming against them, and how some of the witnesses have been in prison. And that could be you. Be on the lookout, because persecution's coming. They're scaring the Jehovah's Witnesses to death. Let's play a little bit of this. Let's play a little bit. I'd like to play it. I want you to just listen a little bit. I think you'll find it fascinating.
Welcome. In this program, we'll update you on the situation of our brothers and sisters around the world who are imprisoned for their faith. But first, Here's an update about this year's convention.
So just a second here. What Samuel heard, governing body member, starts off saying about the imprisoned Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, wouldn't that frighten you if you were still in the witnesses, if you were still one of Jehovah's Witnesses? Oh, they're talking a lot about the stormtroopers. They're talking a lot about, shutting us down. They're talking a lot about imprisoning us. So he starts off saying that, then he switches very quickly to the convention. So get your mind off that for a second, but he's going to go back to it later on. But let's just listen in here. And this is so baloney filled, it's pathetic.
In some parts of the world, they declare the Good News regional conventions are now underway. It's a beautiful program. Let's hear from a few who recently attended.
A lot of the friends have made incredible sacrifices to support the convention here.
Well, I had to negotiate time off of work. We also had to ask for a leave from school.
Got up really early.
Every effort you make, it's definitely worth it. You can't put a price on being here. We get to see brothers that we don't often get to see.
Also, when you're here, you get the hugs. I love hugs.
A virtual hug's okay. A real hug is better.
It's a big difference.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. This is propaganda at its best. It really, really is. Now, here they are. They're showing all these people, how wonderful the convention is. And, we love being here. And we're getting hugs and how wonderful. Wait a minute. Just wait 1 minute. This is not the information that I have coming in. Why is there two sides to this story? This is not the information I'm getting. I'm getting people writing me and saying, Rick, the assembly's boring. I can't stand it. I can't stand being here. These are PMOs, of course, and they're going to the convention. So why do I get this? And yet at the same time, they're getting this. I mean, there's two sides of the story. Who are you going to believe? Do you believe these people? I mean, really, listen a little bit more.
It's between being here in person and watching online.
It's so much more alive.
I love the singing.
There's a power that resonates from the audience when we're all singing together.
That really strengthens us and gives us a boost. Also, it's been incredible that we get to see episode 1 of the Good News According to Jesus.
Next time you do your Bible reading, you really can picture these beautiful moments and see how important they were.
What impressed me is that I've read.
You notice, you know what I notice? This is like a Hollywood production. They pick out, what they do, they go through the audience and they pick out the most appealing looking people, right? You don't see a big heavy person. You don't see some goofy looking person. They pick out pretty attractive people. This really is such propaganda. And, people are looking at it and going, wow, what a great organization. What beautiful people. This is all carefully planned. This is well orchestrated. This is not done on the wing. That the Watchtower does a good job of putting this stuff together. Listen a little bit more, then we'll cut loose.
Read all those verses that were highlighted, and never, ever, not one time did I get emotional. But it brought it to life today, and I did get emotional.
You feel like you're there.
These spiritual feasts.
I was a Jehovah's Witness for 50 years of my life. And I have to tell you, I never got an emotional feeling like that. These people are coming on, they're watching a JW video, and they're getting emotional. I can hardly wait to get out of the stadium, to be honest with you. I mean, this is crazy stuff.
Enrich us and strengthen us spiritually.
I think I want to come to this convention 3 or 4 times.
For me, there's no better place than being among a group.
When you left a convention, did you want to go 3 or 4 times? That's baloney. I don't know how much that just is being paid, but that's not the truth. Did you want to really go to a convention 3 or 4 times? I've had enough of this. Let's shut it up. But I'm just going to, before I do, let me just kind of skip through this a little bit. And I just want you to,
Jehovah's people.
1 second. I'm just going to skip through this. I'm going to show you. So this thing goes on for about 20 minutes. But then they go into, here's a sister here, a Russian sister.
We're involved.
and she's talking about how that, they're being
When
imprisoned
a criminal case was
and how they're being imprisoned in Russia and what have you. So, I have to tell you something. They're really ramping this up. They're really making it look like the nations are coming down on them. Oh, the nations hate us. We're being persecuted. This is going to help them to be able to explain away their child sex abuse. The nations are picking on us. They're saying we're doing this, we're doing that. We're really not. We love everybody. We love the children. This is all propaganda. Enough of that. Let's close that down right now. Let's stop sharing. I can't take it anymore. I don't think you guys can either. So they have
Hey, between you and me, am I dreaming? Didn't they used to tell us not to be emotional like the churches of the world?
They did say that. Let me ask you, Pixie. Did you ever really get emotionally, crying and oh, this is so wonderful at any of their events?
Absolutely not. We were like Puritans. We were taught to be Bible scholars for whatever that meant, because we didn't really learn real Greek or anything. But we were like thinkers and get your Bible out and get another book on the table with the Bible. And this is so much the antithesis of in the immortal words of my mother, I don't recognize this religion anymore. This is not that same belief.
It's not.
It's not.
It's really not. Here they come on. Samuel Hurd, governing body members.
Does he look like Papa Smurf or what?
Well, he does not look good with that beard. I mean, there's certain men that
I like the beard, but I thought he looked like Papa Smurf.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, he's coming on and giving us all this propaganda. But I've been saying for several years here in the six screens that the Watchtower Corporation, I know what their motto is, that they have a motto. Every business has a motto. So the Jehovah's Witness Watchtower Corporation, their motto is the beatings will continue until morale improves. Give until it hurts, then give some more. Listen, obey, and donate. That's their mottos. That's it.
That's about right.
I mean, really, as far as distributing real spiritual truth, I give them a 0.
Well, the funny thing is, the last time that I did attend in person, this sister got all emotional, and she wasn't emotional at my house or as my neighbor or anything. And so, why are you getting all emotional? I mean, it was so different. It's so different.
A different organization, Pixie. But, I don't know. I mean, I'm not one now. I've been out for, since 2005. So that'll be 14 years, 13 years. So anyways, when you stop and think about it, I'm not really sure how or what is going on in that organization now. If I went back in now, it would not be the same. I can tell you that.
Well, I'll take notes tomorrow on the Sunday meeting, and I'll let everybody know what my impression was.
Are you going to the meeting tomorrow?
I got a Zoom. I'm going to check it out, and I don't think I'm going to enjoy it, and I don't think it's going to tell me anything that I don't already know. It's not going to have any new information, but I will be keen on what other people are getting out of it. So forth.
Well, really, I'd love to have you come on next week and talk about it. Thank you, Pixie. Thank you.
I should.
All right. Now,
One more time.
we always have room for the King of Dots. Go ahead.
Don't flatter me, man. I can't take it no more. Please. Anyway, my brother Rick, he's been in fellowship for 1991, I believe. And he has a daughter by his new wife after leaving the witnesses. She's like 16, 17 years old. So she had some oral surgery. She's in Northern Kentucky. Had to go to a pediatrician or something. And across the street, and they're driving her there. She says, "That's where all the kids in my high school have sex." This is the Walton Verona High School, by the way, for anybody who wants to know, Northern Kentucky. And it's the king of all. The Cold Spring, Kentucky Kingdom Hall parking lot. They have trees there, and all the kids in high school go there to have sex. That's what I found out this week. Anyway, Rick said they have a no lawyers sign, but they don't have a gate. Lots of Kingdom Halls have gates. And I told Rick, you need to get in there and find out if they have a camera in the back. So they get to watch all the teenage girls taking their tops off or something back there. I'm telling you, this is actually my niece. She's just got one of 10 students in Kentucky to go whole blind college, and if they stay in Kentucky. Anyway, she used the F word when she said, "This is where all the kids in my high school go to play." So I just want to tell you, Cold Spring, Kentucky, and they need to be embarrassed. Get your ass together. Get a gang on that parking lot, you dumbass. That's all I gotta say.
Well, but don't leave, because I want to tell you, that was in Kentucky. But your state of Ohio isn't some saint state either. I mean, years ago.
What? You're talking smack about Ohio now?
I'm going to talk a little. I'm going to give you a little information about Ohio you might not have ever heard. But we had a woman come on here, and her name was Jacqueline Fowler. She doesn't mind if I use her name. And she was a wonderful lady. We love her dearly. But she was from Indiana. She lived in Indiana. But she knew a lot about what was going on in Ohio. And she came on the program years ago, and I believe her 100%. She's a straightforward woman. And she said that in Ohio, there was 20, I believe it was 20, that were pioneers, and they were having a hard time making ends meet. And yes, you would. As a pioneer, I mean, geez, you need gas for your car. You need to buy tires. You got to keep your car insured. So you need money.
For God's sake.
Yeah, you need money as a pioneer. So she said in Ohio, now this would have taken place, I believe it was back in the 1980s, that a bunch of the pioneer men and women, young men and women, would actually, after pioneering, go to a studio and do pornographic films. Now, I know this sounds like unbelievable, but I believe this woman 100%. And she said they did pornographic films. And when questioned by the authorities of the Watchtower, they said, well, it's the only way we could make money to support ourselves and to be able to stay in the pioneer work. But can you imagine that, King of Dots, right in your own state?
Yeah, yes, I can. My brother Rick, his daughter by his first marriage, she was raised as a witness, kicked out as a regular pioneer, but she got pregnant when she was like 19, and she's been doing porn for like 10 years. She lives up in Lancaster. Well, yeah, I can imagine.
So that doesn't sound too over the. That doesn't sound.
It's the real thing.
That doesn't sound too over the top to you.
No, it's just not that soft to me. After all, if you're in a repressive organization where it's the first time you have sex with a boy, you're going to be kicked out for all eternity and destroyed. Yeah, maybe a person goes through the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Isn't that what happened?
Well,
the opposite end.
Well, the more we do the program here, King and Dots, the more craziness, the more strange things we hear. Always good to hear from you. You're a good man. We love you. Thank you.
What makes you think I'm a fan?
So who's on here with us? Did someone else want to come on? 513 want to come? Who is this?
My name is Yvonda. My screen name is Eve.
Yeah, so what would you like to say?
That was my husband. King of the Dots was my husband. I love him. He is.
Well, see, you're Eve. You're Evie, right? Yes. Well, we love you, Eve. I want you to know that we haven't heard from you for a while.
I know I've been so busy, very, very busy, but I just want to make a quick comment.
Yeah.
I go to church a lot. I love church. And I made a comment at church. I go to Sunday school. I love Sunday school because I'm learning so much. So I made a comment at my Sunday school last week. I talked about how, I was in the cult and our obligation was to go out and preach because we somehow got into talking about how we have to share Jesus there at the Sunday school. And I said that I hated it anymore. I just got to the point I hated it. I hated going to their meetings. I said, now I absolutely love coming to church. And the teacher asked, well, what made the change? And also said, I love coming to church and I love talking to people about Jesus. And he said, well, what made the change? And I said, what I'm learning. I said, I am just in the wow. I walk in the wow of Jesus. The things that I'm learning. How can you not share that with people? And when I compare what I'm learning, actually, the Bible, compared to what I was taught, which was the Watchtower, my heaven, Rick. Oh, the Bible is so beautiful when it is just presented as it is supposed to be presented. The Bible, not filtered through some old man's mind and plastered on a piece of paper called the Watchtower. And then we get to the Bible. No. At this church, at this Sunday school, it's straight to the Bible. And it is the most beautiful thing that I have experienced in my life.
Well, Evie, you just made my night. You made my night. I'm so glad to hear from you. It really was. Now, don't you pick on your wife, King of Dot. She's a wonderful woman. She's a wonderful woman. You treat her nice.
He's a good man, but he's also crazy.
Well, he's eccentric. I know he's eccentric, but we love him. We love the King of Dots. We love you, Evie. Thank you, Evie.
I love you too. And also, I love your wife. And I want to make one more comment. Tipsy. Okay. I think she had a show on last week. And I had never listened to her before, and I just fell in love with her. She is so compassionate. She was talking about, I think it's the same lady. She was talking about the Morris man, Tony Morris, who drank the whiskey, a vodka whiskey.
Yeah.
And how she presented it was so compassionate because we have been taught or had been taught as Jehovah's Witnesses to be judgmental of everything that everybody does. But how she presented the information and how she was so compassionate towards him and whatever his situation may be, I just fell in love with her and her speech. So yeah, thank you all for what you do. It gives my husband something to do. Okay.
Well, I know he goes down in the man cave. He shuts the world off, and then he gets totally saturated with this stuff. Is he okay?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think you might have to have him go to the hospital from time to time to be checked out?
No, he's fabulous. He's absolutely fabulous.
He's a good. Well, we love the King of Dodge. We love you too, Evie. Keep cranking away at it. Don't you give in, up or out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No. Oh, one more thing too, and then I'm really going. Gilbert Gonzalez. I've talked to him on the phone before too. Love him too. Smart man. Very smart man. Okay, I'm done. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night.
Well, thank you, Evie. Well, my goodness gracious, we're getting some good comments coming here tonight from Six Queens. We really do like it. Let's see what else we get going on. Let's bring 614 on with us. 614, you're on with us.
Yeah, kissing Michael. How you doing, bud?
Mike, it's full speed ahead. The pedals to the metal.
Well, I had to say that I love the comment about how she loved going to church, and when you present the gospel and when you present Jesus in a true way, he's easy to talk about, and I certainly agree with that. And another thing I want to talk about was Mr. Gonzalez, where he said it's kind of a blessing that we stay away from witnesses. And maybe that could be true. I consider it the opposite way. I feel blessed. I have an elder friend that I talk to, and the only way that this man is going to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's through me right now. And I feel God has blessed me to give me that opportunity to talk to him. Now, am I going to change his mind overnight? No, I know I'm not going to do that. But I'm giving him little bits of Bible truth each time I talk to him. And one day, and it's going to sink in. One day, I trust that. I trust the Lord for that. So, and you know, I love it when you said you can't help talking about you. And I told my friend Mark, I said, you know, I talk about God and Jesus. I talk about more in the kingdom more now than I ever did when I was a witness. You know, I played at a benefit here in Columbus, Ohio, today, and it was for a person that was who got killed. The mother had a benefit for him, and she just wanted some music, and I play music too, secular music, so I played some, but I felt a need that time at the party today. I don't know if you ever heard my song "Amazing Grace," where I did it to Peace Sweezy feeling of the Eagles. I felt like a need to sing that, and I sang that, and those people appreciated that so much. It was probably the best message that I could give them. I gave them a hope through the word of Christ. So,
well, good for you, Mike. Well, good for you, Mike. And I'm so glad to have a person like yourself that has left the Watchtower but didn't leave God behind. Thank you, Michael. Always good to hear from you. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. All right. Well, listen, you are on the Six Queens Telenetwork. We have got JW World News. That's what we're in right now. We get more programming coming up later. We got Eric. He'll be coming on very shortly. Awakening After the Watchtower. That's his program. So he'll be on in, say, about maybe 15, 20 minutes. So hang in there, Eric. I just wanted to bring up here, too. I mean, how many times have we heard it? I want to bring this up here on the Six Queens JW World News tonight. How many times have you heard or seen people saying, oh, what an incredible blessing it was from Jehovah in my life? And, you know, I heard so many witnesses when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, Jehovah is blessing me. And particularly with pioneers. Oh, my life has been so blessed. And they would get up on the convention and they'd pick these people to come up, these pioneers, and tell the audience how wonderful it was that they could pioneer and they could put their whole life on hold because they want to worship Jehovah. They want to give him the full-time work, and they would pioneer. And, you know, they would bring the best of the pioneers up and really tell people that this is the best thing they could possibly do in my life is to pioneer. And I would be, and in fact, many of them said they would receive blessings. Well, did they really receive blessings? Think about it. Geez, I've got so many people that have written to me in the Six Queens here, and I'm not seeing that. I had one woman here relate to me that she was married to an elder, and she was a pioneer, and she ran her car into the ground. She had, you know, debts galore because she couldn't work. She was pioneering, and she's been to so many conventions, and she was always put out there as the perfect example of faith. But little did people know that she was going down the tubes while she was saying this. You know, there's so many people that they would parade up in the conventions. Oh, things are great. Pioneer, Jehovah will bless you. You'll be good. You'll do well. I mean, was that really the truth? I'm seeing so many stories here that have come to me here the last couple of weeks concerning families. Well, here's a family that wanted to become need creators. Well, we're going to become need creators. We're going to sell everything we have. We're going to move out to some, you know, area in Iowa or wherever, and we're going to preach the good news of the kingdom. Jehovah needs us out there. And I mean, seriously, their whole life has been wrecked. They sold their house. They're out of money. They have no money left. I mean, in this economy, seriously, is this good advice? I mean, I think it's silly advice. Silly advice that the Watchtower.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were, you know, the pioneers were kind of detested
principle. I mean, they were good for a number, you know, when the circuit overseer came around. But the elders used to laugh at them. They say, "Oh, they're nuts. They dress in rags." Oh my God, you know what I mean? And we had a lot of them that did that. We were in East Texas, and they were nuts. I mean, they were totally extremist, and but they were kind of a mockery. I hate to say that, you know, because you know some people look at them like they're the example, and they're out putting in all these hours. But as you see now, the hours don't mean nothing. They just change the number. It's 30, 60. You know, it keeps dropping. You get the badge no matter what now. But it's just interesting that they were kind of, I hate to say loathsome, but, you know, they were kind of like, it was kind of like a stench in a lot of the congregations, especially some of those with money. They'd be like, "Oh, God, don't hang out with us. Don't hang out with us guys, whatever you do." Yeah, you know what I mean? Isn't that weird? Did you have that in your congregation at all, Rick?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that stuff all exists. It's crazy, Dan. It's really crazy what the Watchtower keeps putting people's heads. I mean, they told us years ago, and you heard it as well. You know, work less. You know, leave it in Jehovah's hand. But you know, when we're looking at the world today, we're seeing everything is way more expensive. I mean, it's a sound decision that you know.
It was going to help them, Rick.
Yeah.
It was going to help them. I mean, you know, they're operating on nothing. And you know, the interesting thing now, Rick, is they're not really doing any preaching, because when we talked to those guys, when we were on that trail, they kept saying, go to jw.org, go to jw.org. And I said, "I don't want to go to jw.org. I want to talk to you guys." And the reason I said I want to talk to you guys is I want to hear from your heart what you believe and why you believe it. And they said, "Well, the reason we send everybody to jw.org is so that we can be accurate." He said, "Because a lot of people that you hear out there, even witnesses, get it wrong." Can you believe the justification, Rick, for anybody who says anything a little off or whatever? They've got an excuse for everything, but that's what he said. That's why they send people to jw.org, because it's so accurate, and you show them these little tablets. But basically, I just said, I really want to hear from you what you believe. But it's interesting, Rick, they really don't preach anymore. And that's what made me think, what are they doing? If they're not preaching, and they're just sitting out on a trail, they're not making eye contact. You remember, Rick, we were told to make eye contact, and if you got a smile, you could engage. If you didn't get a smile, you didn't engage. You know, if they looked away, you left them alone. It was a boundary. Well, these guys they're not interested at all. And the minute you talk to them, it's jw.org. Well, I know, Rick, and I used to sell cars, and I used to do a lot of things like that. You can't sell anybody anything unless you can engage them, like we used to do with the name, we're not a Trinity, we're this, we're that. We brought out scriptures. We actually preached from the Bible. We opened the scriptures. So when I was sitting there watching them, I said, what are they doing? What they're doing is just being obedient while they're being programmed by governing body. And Rick, this programming now is serious programming. When you put motion picture in there, I know you talked about it, about emotion. When you put strong emotion and feeling and emotion and music, these songs people say they can't get out of their head. You do some serious state inducement. And then you induce fear, which is what the assemblies are now. You've got some powerful state inducement. So Watchtower is branding these guys with fear, branding them to flee, branding them to get ready to flee. God knows what they got planned for these guys, Rick. It's scary. And a lot of people are starting to say that now. A lot of the comments on YouTube are like, "I'm scared for my family. I'm scared what they're doing with them. You know, I'm scared." But they got heavy duty. When you go to motion picture, just think about it, Rick. You're watching a clip that has a light going through it, and you're in the movie. We can walk away from the movie. The Watchtower people can't walk away from the movie. They are the movie. That is sickening, Rick.
Well, I'm with you, Dan, really. Now, listen, while you're still on here with us, you know, the Watchtower has always said what an incredible blessing it would be to pioneer, and Jehovah coming into your life would help you by putting full-time service first. Well, Dan, I mean, even being one of Jehovah's Witnesses, we couldn't really fulfill our passions. We couldn't go forward with what we really wanted to do. So have you ever just stop and think about this. I'm going to ask you, then I'm going to ask other people coming on as well. Have you ever experienced incredible blessings from Jehovah by being one of Jehovah's Witnesses? Did you ever experience that, Dan?
No. I never found out who I was. I never got to live my purpose. I always lived on the edge. I always lived paycheck to paycheck. Not that a lot of people don't do that today because it's tough, the economy, but I was always broke and I was always guilted. I lived in guilt and shame. When I didn't pioneer, I thought I should be pioneering. When I pioneered, I thought I should be doing more. I should have did 2 months instead of 1. I missed some doors. I had guilt over that. It was constant guilt. I can understand why these people have sickness in their body, why there's so many handicapped, why there's so many people crippled by Watchtower. Because if you live in PTS and trauma, like they're running the fire drills at the hall now, they're to-go bags, the beginning of the drama, you saw the first 4 minutes of the new drama that's coming up. It's terrible. And so, no, Rick, I have to say, when I left the Kingdom Hall, I was terrified. I felt the same way as my mother. I felt Jehovah was going to kill me. And I've told you before, my mother died saying, Jehovah's going to kill me. Jehovah's going to kill me. My brother died the same way. And that's when I decided I was going to step in and do something and start, being an activist. Because when I saw the suffering of my family, I thought, I got to do something. I can't just sit back. I got out. I got away. But man, Rick, I found my purpose. I didn't know I was an artist. I didn't know I was an author. I didn't know I was a business owner. I didn't know so much about myself. So much, and I want to say this, so much of everyone that's listening, so much of you is on the shelf that you don't even know. You haven't called it in. You've been indoctrinated. You're a walking, talking program, Watchtower. I mean, you're a robot for Watchtower. You really are. And you don't know it. But I got to tell you, your real life and my real life was waiting for me. When I got out, I met the wife of my dreams. I live in a beautiful home on the river. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I don't live with shame and guilt. I don't live with fear. I don't walk with fear. I don't think there's an angry God wanting to kill me. And God has blessed me. And he'll bless anybody. Whether you call him he or it or whatever you want to call God. But that is waiting for everybody. And that is why I feel it's worthwhile to approach the witnesses. I'm not going to approach the witnesses anymore and not tell them I was a witness. I'm going to tell them I was a witness and why I left. And here's why I left and why didn't you leave. That's going to be my new approach. But anyway, Rick, no, to just answer your questions, no, I had no idea who I was. All I knew is I wanted to handle the microphones and I wanted to read the Watchtower and I wanted to be a ministerial servant and I wanted to conduct the Bible study, the book study. I wanted to answer good at the Watchtower. I had no idea who I was. I did all my sports. I cried because I didn't go to college. I cried because I didn't play football. I cried. I felt like I missed my life. But what I realized was there's a scripture in the Bible that said God will give you back what the locusts have eaten, and he will. God gave me back what the locusts have eaten. And what it means, that scripture, is that what was consumed by Watchtower, God can give us back in a very short time. And I've experienced that. If we turn to God, we don't have to. We can do whatever we want after Watchtower, and most don't, because of the damage that's been done, the way they've abused the Bible, the way they've weaponized the Bible against us has been horrible. And Rick, this whole thing about Jesus that's going on in the organization, it's detestable. And I'm glad we're taking on the name Jesus. And I'll tell you why. I'm super glad, because now then we can say Jesus said, many will come in my name, and I'll say, get away from me, workers of lawlessness. I never knew you. And Jesus said this, you'd know them by their heart. You'd know them by their love. It wouldn't be so much they throw around the name Jesus. It would be they'd have the mind of Christ. And that's what we know Watchtower don't have. And they don't have the heart of Christ. Like you said, they would go to a good Samaritan that would help somebody else outside their faith. And I got to tell you, if you don't think this organization is only about them, watch the final few minutes of the 2023 drama where the man tells his son, it's only us now. Your family's gone, your lifestyle. They showed the lady hanging up her clothes in the tent. This is life now. He goes, well, I want to play soccer. The dad goes, I'll play soccer with you. But the message was this, Rick, it's only us. Everyone else out there is dead. It was like they formed, it's like the paradise is going to be formed in the middle of the refugee camps. And that's what it says. Watch it. It says it's only us. It's just us now. That is sickening, Rick. That is sickening that they would play this game on these people and brainwash them and manipulate them and guide them down these roads of hopelessness and despair. It's disgusting, Rick. Anyway, sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. I mean, that's what the job is, to do exactly what you just said. Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Rick.
Now, what we're going to do is I want to ask other people out there, have you received, when you were one of Jehovah's Witnesses, did you receive an incredible blessing from Jehovah in your life? Did you, when you were one of Jehovah's Witnesses, did you receive that blessing? I would like to hear from you. Go ahead, hit *6. I want you to come on and tell me, did you receive that incredible blessing from Jehovah when you were one of Jehovah's Witnesses? Well, I have to tell you, I didn't. I didn't. Go ahead. Let's go with 312. It looks like 312 out of Chicago. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Stephen Spears. Absolutely not. I can't think of one single thing that wouldn't have happened to me had I not been a witness, or just wouldn't have happened to me just in general. So no, absolutely not. And I know I hear people from time to time saying, well, if I wasn't a witness, this would have happened to me and that would have happened to me. But I can name you, hundreds of people who are not witnesses. Some of them lived or some weren't, that have great lives, they have great careers, they have great marriages. So don't tell me that there's some tremendous blessing in being a witness. There is.
Well, thank you, Stephen. I mean, that's what the Watchtower wants you to believe. If you pioneer, you reach out, you become a servant, you're going to receive incredible blessings from Jehovah by putting him first. Is there anybody out there that has received an incredible blessing from Jehovah? I'd love to hear from you. It's *6 on your telephone pad. Did you receive an incredible blessing? I don't think anyone was. Go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead, sister.
Hi. As being raised as a witness, and of course, I'm no longer a witness. I pioneered. My ex-husband was an elder. We reached out to the congregation, and at that time, there was no blessings. We were giving blessings out to people. If they needed money, we would help them out. If they needed food, we would help them out. We never, that is, of course, is love, showing love, of course, but we never received blessings back. And when we were dealing with, especially our divorce and him being disfellowship, it all turned on me. So, Rick, I agree, there is no blessing when you reach and you work so hard doing all this. You are sacrificing more time away from the family. You're sacrificing money. You're sacrificing your life. So I agree with you 100%. There is no blessing.
Well, I'm glad you said that, sister. Many people that have come into the program would agree with you. Well, thank you. My goodness gracious. We would love to have you come on. So have you been on the 6 screens before?
I've actually commented a couple times. No, I haven't had time, but I would love to chat with y'all and talk to you and share my story. It's a life story.
Well, what you want to do is write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com, jwworldnews@gmail.com, and say this is, I won't give your name out here, but you can just say this is such and such. And I will get you on here and we'll have you tell your story. I'd love to hear you. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, appreciate it. Well, incredible blessings. That's what the Watchtower says. If you pioneer, you reach out to be an elder, a ministerial servant, or just reaching out to be a good Jehovah's Witness, then you're going to receive incredible blessings. Did you receive incredible blessings? I didn't. I've been blessed since I've been out of the Watchtower. Really, my life has turned around. I got so much better. But was your life blessed when you were one of Jehovah's Witnesses? Did you really feel that, wow, everything is working out well for me? This is wonderful that I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I mean, I don't know how you felt, but it wasn't that way for me. I felt better when I left. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's just amazing when you stop and think about it. And that's what they tell people. Oh, your life is going to be so enhanced. It's going to be so great now that you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses and you're reaching out. Well, let's see what else is going on here behind the curtains of the Watchtower. I mean, I'm getting people writing into me here to saying their life wasn't in any way a blessing. Some people went bankrupt. Some are pioneers. They just couldn't financially support themselves. I mean, really, all these comments I'm getting is just unbelievable. No, they weren't. They certainly weren't enhanced, or your life was not better by being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. To say that you were blessed, I would have to say no. I'm going to show you a picture here. A picture that, now this is a picture of paradise. I think that you'll find this very fascinating. Let me get in here and find it. Now, you tell me what you think. This is a picture of paradise. Some people say it's AI generated, but it's appearing in a Watchtower magazine. I'll give you where it is here just a second. Let me get the picture up. I want you to see it. How phony baloney this picture is. Take a look at that picture. That picture is just over the top. It's showing a family. Can you see it? It's showing a family sitting down. This is supposed to be a paradise earth. They're sitting down at a table to have a meal. Look at all of those animals. My goodness, there's goats, there's fox, there's looks like wild boar, elk, I mean, lions and tigers and panda. I mean, really? Could you eat a meal? I mean, is this for real? This is in a Watchtower publication. Would you really feel that this could be real? The witnesses are imagining it could be, but when you stop and think about it, I mean, wouldn't the animals be jumping up on the table? Wouldn't they be wanting some of that food? I mean, years ago, I had a cat, and when he'd want to eat some of that food, but look at all these animals. It's nuts. Even under the table, all over the place, all around the table. I mean, that picture is over the top. What do you think? I mean, is that real? Is that really real? Well, this picture appeared on a Facebook group, and they were putting it out there that, this is what it's going to be like in paradise. Would you like to eat there with all those animals? I feel very uncomfortable. I really do. What do you think? What do you think of that picture? Crazy stuff going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. So I want that's a picture of the week. I'm going to start showing a picture of the week here every week. Well, friends, I really appreciate you coming in tonight. Does anyone have any further comments they'd like to make? You're right here on the sixth screen, so go ahead, speak up. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, it's Grace.
Yes, Grace.
So what happened this week in my congregation in Sweden, we had a meeting on Zoom, and the governing body is not behind this, but they say that they don't mind that some pioneers and missionaries now they came up with this idea that we're going to start using an app, and it's called nwscheduler.com, and the elders said that this will make it easier to notice if somebody hasn't had a task or an assignment for a long time. And they also said this is more safe to storage our personal information. But for me, I'm worried that this app, nwscheduler.com, will just make it easier for them to keep track on the witnesses on internet. So that's just my concern. That's all from me. Thank you.
Well, good, Grace. Well, thank you for coming on and talking to us. Well, friends, I'll tell you what, we had quite the program here tonight. Lots of people coming through. Lots of things happening behind the curtains of the Watchtower. Excuse me. We don't want you going any further. We've got more programs coming up tonight here on the 6 screens. We've got Awakening After the Watchtower. That's coming up next with a good friend, Eric. He's out of Nashville, Tennessee. He's a former Jehovah's Witness, and he'd like to give his program tonight. He's got a lot to talk about. We're looking forward to it. Dick, what do you have to say?
Yeah, just a quick thought. I've been watching YouTube, and every single day is at least 10 more videos on how corrupt the Watchtower is. I just thought I'd throw that out to the audience. Thank you, Rick.
So you're learning a lot, Dick, then, huh? From the videos? Anything in particular that you really like?
Well, they did a thing on Benny Hinn. Now, I know Benny Hinn is not a Jehovah's Witness and never was, but how fraudulent he is. And he did a whole expose on at least 10 very famous evangelists that are making millions and millions of dollars. And then you contrast that with the Watchtower that does the same thing. They're making millions and millions of dollars, and they're so phony. They've been caught in so much deception and lies over the years. And just for everybody's knowledge, I just really love being on 6 screens and pointing my finger at them and how dark they are. What a horrible, lying, filthy, stinking organization they are. Thanks, Rick.
Well, you're welcome, Dick. Well, the more we do here, the more people see it. The more people are seeing it. Well, thank you, Dick Borgate. Well, anyways, we're going to go to Eric. He's a former Jehovah's Witness out of Rhode Island. He's got his own program, Awakening After the Watchtower. He's coming on next. But friends, I want to thank you all for coming into JW World News tonight. That's the news the Watchtower doesn't want us talking about, but we talk about it every Saturday night and every other Sunday right here on the 6 screens tele-network. No, we will not be on tomorrow. There is no Sunday program tomorrow. The Sunday program takes place every 2 weeks, so just give me a little heads up. No Sunday program tomorrow. So we got Eric coming up next. We're going to bring him on here. So let me get into his studio. Let us end this program and stay with us. Don't go any. Yes, Eric. Oh, yeah, no, I got to do the duck. Thank you. Thank you. I did. Yeah, I didn't want. Well, no, thanks. Thank you for a lot of things going on. I didn't want to keep you waiting, but that's good. So let's do the duck. We got the duck. We want people to win some prizes here tonight. So Eric, hang in with us, and we're going to do some. Listen, we get some beautiful books I want to give away. The Desolation of the Sanctuary. You can get that book. I've got Millions Now Living Will Never Die. I've got some beautiful books here, courtesy of Jim Hill out of Washington State. So what we're going to do is when I ask, let me open the envelope here. I got a secret envelope here. These are the words. I don't think any. Yes.
Yeah, this is Derek from New Mexico.
Oh, yes, sir.
I was calling in. Did you address the Smurf Girl thing?
No, in fact, we'll Derek, talk a little bit about it, then I'll kind of follow up with you. So go ahead and just say what you think, yeah?
Well, she's a Smurf Girl. She's getting out of hand. Now she's, last week she went on Linda's show and was bashing her. And then this week, just last night, she was bashing Jimmy Bell like she's bashing everybody who's connected with the 6 screens, and she's getting out of hand. And I talked to Jimmy Bell about it, and he said he's about ready to walk away from it and move on. He said he discussed it with some of the toxic people in the XJW community.
Well,
we don't want anyone to give up or walk away.
Well, that's exactly what's happening, Derek. A lot of people, I don't know what it is. You think that we would all be in alliance with one another. You think that we'd all kind of upbuild each other and work with each other. But it seems like some ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have renegade, and they pick on other witnesses that are trying to do their best to expose the Watchtower. And I know Smurf Girl has picked on me. She's picked on John Cedars. She's picked on Mike and Kimmy. She's picked on a number of people. But it's just, we know, Derek, I think, first of all, you do know that something is not mentally right with her, right?
Yes,
So
definitely.
it's very hard to really come down on someone that's not mentally correct. But at some point, I think someone has to speak out. So I'm going to speak out a little bit here. You know, she accused me, Smurf Girl accused me of basically killing my former wife. You know, that's a little bit over the top. And, you know, and now she's got, you know, Jimmy Bell upset. She got the Pasta Babe upset. She's picked on Mike and Kim and others, like I say. So, you know, the girl is not mentally stable. So whether she's mentally stable or not, I'm going to just stop this, you know, pandering to her. No, she's sick and, you know, we have to work with her. No, when you start doing this type of stuff, that's beyond repair. You're hurting people.
Yeah,
You're hurting people.
yeah, she's ruining people's lives. She's not going to hear about she mentioned against Johnny. He sent an inappropriate picture to her, and you know, she's trying to run his life.
Well, that's you know, I don't understand why people do that. The way that I look at it, with all of the people that are exposing the Watchtower, whether I'm close friends with them or not, we're all brothers and sisters exposing this evil organization. But for someone to come on and start, derailing people and making them feel like they're useless and what have you, that's not right. So, Smurf Girl, if you're listening, you know, I know you're mentally incompetent, but I'm going to just tell you right now, you got to knock it off. You can't keep going on picking on people. Knock it off. And for some, and really, at some point, someone's going to speak up and say it. Whether you're mentally ill or not, stop it. Just stop the foolishness. You're hurting the community more than you're helping it. She's not thinking straight, Derek. She's not. Yeah.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep. Well, good, Eric. No, that's good. No, after a while, I mean, you know, I kind of put up with it and, you know, get cut off some slack, but enough is enough. I mean, what would a person try? Why would a person want to destroy the community? And then when Derek wrote me today and said that Jimmy Bell is all upset in the ex-witness world, I haven't heard it from Jimmy, but I'll take Derek's word for it, that he's disgusted. It can disgust a person. We don't want to get people disgusted from, you know, speaking out against the Watchtower. Why would we do that? So thank you, Derek, for bringing that to my attention. Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. You know, I agree. You know, we're not trying to beat people up, you know, walk away. And when you not just that, I hope that someone, you know, gets her address and there's like the authorities over there for like a welfare check. Because she, it's like, I was talking to Linda about it. Well, Linda, even if she knows she needs, you know, hopes that she gets therapy. She needs She needs help.
Well, yes, Eric, Derek, that's exactly what she does need. She does need help. Well, thank you, Derek, for bringing that to my attention. I'm glad you brought it up again tonight. We got a lot of things going here, but I wanted to bring that up. Thank you, Derek. Okay, let's go to our. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just want one quick thought, if I could. Anybody that knows you or knows Six Screens, though, that what Surf Girl is saying is ludicrous. But the problem is that rumors start, and they always stay on TV so they don't get sued for slander or something like that. Well, it's been rumored that, and that's all it needs. In the Watchtower, there's a lot of people in the Watchtower that would like to see you go down, and Six Screens to be shut off. And people like Smurf Girl, she's dishonest. She may be mentally ill, but she knows what she's doing is wrong. And everybody else knows it. But the unfortunate part is that some people that are anti-Six Screens or staunch JW will say something like, well, it's been rumored that Rick Farron murdered his wife, pushed her down the stairs. And that stuff you can get around over time. It's crazy, it's unfair, but that's what happens in life. Thank you.
Well, Dick, that what you just said is exactly true. People say these things, people pick up on it, and they can take it and run to the bank and cash it. And there's no validity at all. Well, thank you for saying that, Dick. So let's go on to the duck. My goodness, I want to go to. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to make one point too. We got to be careful who we allow as friends on our Facebook page. And when you see these people come up, don't friend them because they can look at your information. I've had people cut and paste shit out of what I said and say I said this. I've had people call me all kinds of names. I don't worry about it. He's an effing Mason. He's this. He's that. It doesn't matter. But when you friend them, they can actually watch all your activity, watch your post, copy and paste stuff off your thing. So if you got people on there that are not your friends or you suspect there's stuff like this happening, unfriend them. Don't let them. Because I see some of these people, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, be friends. I want to follow you. Or they're following you, but if you don't follow them, they don't have access to every bit of data, everything you do. If you look at a post, they can say, oh, he looked at this post, he looked at this girl, or he did this, or he did that. So just don't give access to these people. If they want to be your friends, if you hear their name on here and they're causing trouble, then don't friend them. Don't let them come. Don't be friends with them. And they can't access your information because once somebody can come on your Facebook page, they can see all your friends, they can see all your posts, they can see everything you're doing. So I just wanted to say that. Okay.
Well, that's very sensible, Dan. That's very sensible what you just said. And, what do you do when someone wants to? What's the first thing you do, Dan, when someone says, Dan, I want you to be my friend? What do you do? Tell us.
I look and see who their friends are. And I know the one that we're talking about here. I've seen many times Instagram, this, that, like me, accept me as a friend. I don't. First thing I do when I go on Facebook is I tap on who it is. I look at it. I see who they are, who their friends are. And I'm also careful. If I know somebody's a friend with that person, I don't communicate with them either. If I know people are close friends that are doing videos and stuff with other people, like the one we're talking about, I don't friend them. I leave them just the same way. I don't engage because, and you got to be careful who you talk to out there, because I'm telling you, this is weird, but some people are just gathering our information. They want to hear this from you, and you'll tell something to somebody else, and then the next thing you know, it's right back to that person and it's being used against you. So one example was I actually did a show with Smart Girl before your show years ago on masonry, and it was a good show, and it was about her family, and they were Masons, and blah blah blah, and I was Mr. Wonderful, and then years later I got out, and but anyway, long story short, I was on your show one night, and she came on there and goes, "He's an effing Mason. He's an effing Mason." Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You said you were my friend.
You said, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I was under the same attack, just in a different way. And so anyway, that's what we have to do. We just have to avoid the people, avoid some of the people they're associating with, and just don't contact either one. And other people will contact you for this person and try to get information. So just be careful who the hell you're talking to online. And if somebody wants to go into gossip about another person, be very careful that you're not being led down into something. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's good advice. That's real good advice, Dan, because really, it seems like it's crazy. I mean, Smurf Girl, she had a program here in the Watchtower for over a year. I've talked to her numerous times on the telephone. I tried to help her work through the death of her uncles with the murder and all that going on. And then all of a sudden, she started turning on me, but she turned on Kim and Mikey. She turned on you. She turned on now Pasta Babe. She turned on Jimmy Bell. I mean, what is going on with this woman? You know, it's not right. It's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I think somebody just don't give us too much attention.
Well, good. Well, thank you, Dan. That's good advice. That's good advice.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't see you on the show. I'll let you go. It's over again. And I just sent you an email. It's a video where over 2 years ago I did a video, and because Smurf Girl was accusing me of being a child molester, because there was a guy who had a similar name of mine, but a lot older. He was in Tucson. That was a Boy Scout leader, and so she tried to pin that on me, and she tried to get Mike and Kim. Like, oh, they gave me the info, but you know, but what you do is you can enumerate it. So that's what I did. I just enumerated, like, okay, let's go item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. You know, just list the whole thing. I enumerated, I answered it, and then it's over. There's nothing else to be said, you know. But yeah, just ignore them. And it's going to happen to everybody. So if you make videos, she's going to come attack you. So don't worry about it. It comes to the territory. And it's a running joke with all the guys, the bad boys, the best posse of the hour, all the bad guys. Yeah, she goes after every one of them. You know, she accuses everybody who's trying to sexually assault her. It's a running joke that all of us guys, we laugh because, you know, every guy that talks to her sexually attacks her. And so, and I'm not afraid of it because, you know, all of these other guys will come to this defense and they'll say the exact thing. But like I said, you know, when people are the best thing that we can do for her is you know, Jesus says, pray for your enemies, and also pray that she gets the proper help because she needs help. She doesn't need. We're not trying to criticize her. She needs help, professional help, and to quote that famous words of Barack Obama, "That's above my pay grade." I can't help Smurf Girl. I can't. I don't have the ability. I didn't go to school. I don't have the background. She needs professional help. I can't help her. And I don't think anybody in the JW world can help her.
Well said, Gilbert. I didn't want to say much about her, but I got, you know, me email today, and you're going to bring this up because, you know, I don't want good people leaving the ex-Jehovah's Witness community because they're being picked on. And, you know, I'll even cut, you know what, I really didn't like Smurf Girl. I really did. I'm having different feelings now, though. I mean, you don't accuse someone of murdering their wife. That's what really ticked me off. I mean, I had a good relationship with my wife. I certainly wouldn't murder her. And for her to spread that all over the internet, I mean, that's one thing. I don't care if she said that I was an idiot, I was a jerk, I was a screwball. I don't care what she said. But when you said that I murdered my wife, I mean, that kind of ticked me off a little bit, you know.
And she's going to be a pedophile. So what do? I pray for her. I actually get on my knees and I pray for her. Because that's what Jesus taught us to do. And that's what we're supposed to do. We pray for our enemies, but that doesn't mean we go have dinner with our enemies. It doesn't mean we go hang out and things like that. But we do pray for our enemies. And we don't return evil for evil. But you want it, that's my advice to anybody at Jimmy Bell. Don't get upset. Just enumerate it. Write down the list 1 through 10. Speak your mind, and then don't ever talk about it ever again.
Well, there you go. That's the words of wisdom. Thank you very much, Gilbert. You're a good man. Thank you. All right. Dick, one more comment, then we're going to go to our duck.
Yeah, just ready for the deck, Rick.
I get ready. I want everyone to get ready for the deck. Now, listen, friends. If you want to win a book, I can't watch YouTube. I can't watch Facebook. I can't watch the other platforms. If you want to win a book, you're gonna have to call in. There's a telephone number on YouTube. I'm gonna go by that. Telephone numbers. First one I can call in. But listen, you don't want to. I'm gonna ask a question. I've got some books to give away here tonight, and we're gonna have a good time. But I'm gonna play some music from Jeopardy. When the music stops, that's when you come on and give your comment. If you come on earlier, you're disqualified. So I want some people to win these books. Jim Hill is nice enough to send us the books. We got a bunch of books here. He wants to help us with this. Thank you, Jim, for doing that. So let's give the first clue. Let's give the first clue and see if you guys know it. I'll give the clue, then I'll play the Jeopardy music. When the Jeopardy music stops, you can give your guess. Okay. I want you to tell me about a company that makes cakes. Hold on, don't go anywhere. Company that makes cakes. What does that have to do with the Watchtower? Okay, a company that makes cakes. What does that have to do with the Watchtower? Hostess is not Hostess. A company that makes cakes. What does that have to do with the Watchtower? All right, I'll give you another clue. We only give 3 clues, and then I'll give the answer. Nobody wins. All right, the next clue. It has to do with cheese. Don't answer till the music stops. Okay, so a company that makes cakes. It has to do with cheese. What are we talking about? No? What's the name of the company?
Cheesecake Factory.
Oh no. We'll give one more clue, and then
Nestle.
We'll give one more clue.
Is it Nestle?
No, it's not Nestle. Okay, we'll give one more clue, and then we'll have to. Who said Sarah Lee? Eric, you won. You won the gift. Okay, Eric, you won. You won a gift. It's Sarah Lee. So what is it? Tell us about Sarah Lee, Eric. Well, yeah.
Those were the Danish district assembly.
Yeah. They can hear you, Eric. Yeah, they were the cheese. They were the cheese Danish at the assembly at the conventions. Okay. All right, Eric. You won a prize. All right, let's go. Okay, good. Thank you. All right, let's go to the next. Let's go. Kind of if you're all unmuted, so kind of just hold your hand over the phone so we don't get a lot of get so many people calling in. Okay, so hold on. We'll go to the next clue, but don't. Can everyone kind of like hold your hand over the phone? We get a lot of background noise there. Do that. But okay, okay, there's so many people coming in here. I hate to mute everybody, but just kind of hold your hand over the receiver so we don't hear you. All right, let's go to the next one. It has to do with, this was a department at the conventions. Many people were aware of it, but many people never visited it. Let's play the music. No, not the lost and found. Let's go one at a time. This was the department. What was that?
Department.
What department? Collections.
Collections. collections.
No, not collections. No, not collections.
Cleaning department. The cleaning department.
Cleaning department, no. This was a department. No, okay. We'll play it. I'll give you another clue. Then we'll play the music. Don't say it until the music stops. Like I say, nobody really, not a lot of people visited it. But if you were feeling not too good, now don't say it until the music stops. If you were not feeling too good, where would you go? Okay, where would you go? It was a man. It was a man. Come on back. I think it was.
I said first aid. This is Scott from Florida.
I think it was you, Scott. I think it was a man first, so I go with Scott. Scott, you won a prize. Send me JW World News. Send me your email address. I'll mail a book out to you. Okay. Okay. Give you a nice book here. All right. All right. That's good. We get some new winners here, so that's good. So let's go. We got some more questions here to ask. I'm glad you guys are all listening in. Let's go with, okay, here's the next one. You know, in the Jehovah's Witness world, they have their own words for everything. They have a word that sometimes you wouldn't be able to connect with if you didn't know Jehovah's Witness language. So we're going to go with, you wouldn't paste it on the, don't answer. So you wouldn't paste it on what?
Information board.
Who said an information board? Who's that? Sharon? Is that Sharon?
Yeah.
Sharon, you won a prize. Sharon, you won a prize. It's the information board. It's not the bulletin board. We did not call it the bulletin. We call it the information board. Sharon, send me your email, not email, but your snail mail address, and we'll get your book out, okay?
Okay, well, I won a book about a month ago and I still haven't arrived.
Well, it hasn't. Well, there's been some going out. So what, did you go by another name?
No.
All right, well, go ahead and make sure I sent some books out today. I'm just wondering, would you do me a favor? Just write me again and say, Rick, the book didn't arrive, okay? And we'll make sure we get that out to you. Okay? I mean, I mail some out. Sometimes we do miss it. You didn't put it in somebody else's name, did you?
No, put in my name.
All right, put in your name and write me at JW World News and let me know that, and we'll get the book out to you. Okay, thank you, Sharon. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye now. All right, well, let's go. Okay, that's, well, Sharon, she's doing good. All right, let's go with the next one here. Let's go with the next one. Okay, I'm going to give you a clue. It was white. It was white, and there were many, many sheets. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
The time slept.
The what?
The time slept.
No. It was white and many, many sheets. All right, no takers on that. I'll give you another clue, but don't answer until the music stops. You didn't use it all of the time, but maybe one or two times during the day. Any thoughts? You didn't use it all the time, but maybe one or two times during the day. No takers? Nobody wants to take a shot at it? I'll give you another clue. Well, let me. All right, hold on one second. We're going to go with, okay, let's go with this clue. They only wanted you to use 3 sheets. So they only want to use toilet paper.
Toilet paper.
Who said that? What? Well, you want a book. You want a book because you answered toilet paper. That was the answer. So that was the answer. So what made you think?
I want to beat him up. I was laughing too much.
So what made you, brother? What made you think of toilet paper? What was it? What was the clue that got you thinking of toilet paper? Well, we can get you to. Yeah.
Probably because you said only 3 sheets.
Yeah. Well, actually, the Watchtower, and I have to tell you, that's the reason why I even brought this up tonight, is the Watchtower was actually suggesting that at the conventions. You know, if you had to go to the bathroom, you know, only use 3 sheets. I mean, I don't think that was enough.
So, what were they going to do? Go in and check and make sure?
I don't. Well, I'm not sure, but they want to control all aspects of your life, even to how many sheets of toilet paper you're going to use. You know?
I think, Rick, that would be an asinine suggestion. Definitely
Well, yeah, maybe a conscience matter. Well, gee, you know, I better go and confess to the elders I used 4 sheets, not 3. You know, I mean, really, at what?
Wait, was that really for? Was that for real? Was that in the Watchtower?
Well, it was mentioned. It was mentioned from, I don't think it was on jw.org, but I think it was mentioned in a meeting, you know, a midweek meeting, that, you know, when you go to the bathroom, it'd be good to just use three sheets, you know. So,
oh, brother.
I mean, they're
gonna have to obey.
Yeah, obey the Watchtower. This is like crazy stuff. But I mean, you know, they want to control you in the bedroom. They want to control you from the cradle to the grave. They want to tell you how many sheets of toilet paper to use. I mean, would you really want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses? Really? I mean, seriously. See, enough is enough. So.
I wonder what year that was. I wonder what year they said that.
Well, that was 2014, from what I see here.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, you missed that one. So you better just.
Thank God.
Thank
God I missed it.
Yeah. So, do we want to?
Rick is the king of the songs again.
Yes.
I'm seeing on the feed that there's stuff about Smart Girl, and I want to address this because when me and my wife met in 1979, we conducted Bible studies together in the Cincinnati area, and one of the Bible studies we had, this woman, she was a daughter of a regular pioneer, and she had a doll that talked to her and had the voice of the person on The Exorcist, which I've never seen the movie. Anyway, this doll told her to put iron on her arm, and she did that. And she was raised in the truth. Now, all I'm saying is, I know this. We stayed with these people for a long time, maybe 3 months. She and her husband, she was like 100 pounds larger than her husband. He was like, I don't know who was the butch in this operation. But anyway, this happened. And I know people want to put down sperm. I know, I think people don't understand this stuff actually happens. I don't like it. I know she's had problems with people and issues, but I'm telling you, I have firsthand experience with people who claimed this in 1980, 1979, 1980. So I just want to tell everybody out there who wants to dispel, smurf, something real is here. And by the way, it isn't going to affect me or my relationship with anybody else. That's them and other people's relationships. That's all I want to say, Rick. That's it. I'm out of here. Over and out, Roger.
Well, King of Dots,
Godspeed, Don, John, Glenn.
Well, we hate to have you leave. We hate to have you leave. We always love to hear.
I don't want to leave.
Well, it was so nice.
Why are you kicking me off the show?
Well,
man?
no, not because I was so glad to hear from your wife Evie too. My goodness, that was amazing. She came on. We'd love to hear from her. You know.
What? What?
So don't.
When did this happen?
Well, that happened tonight. She was
that?
on with us. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
You're thinking of me?
Well,
What's
she speaks highly of you. She loves you. Evie's a good woman. She couldn't stop talking about you.
Know what she likes. Just because we're married 44 years, does that mean anything? Come on.
No, she spoke very highly of you. Very highly. You got a good woman there.
What? I must have missed that. I must have missed that.
What?
Well, I'm going to make sure she tells me to my face.
Well, she'll tell you. You'll have to listen into the sixth screen. I mean, she really loves you. Yeah.
Okay.
Good
Well,
day.
you know, Rick, I'm glad that you have a wife, okay? Because a man needs a wife. No matter what Joe Biden says, a man needs a wife.
Well, I think it's important. I think it's one of the most important things in life. I mean, there are people that can go through without a wife, but I think it's better to have a wife. And I'm pleased, like you, to have a very good wife. So keep up the good work. You're doing a good job. Eve loves you. Thank you, King of Dots. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. Well, we're moving in the right direction. We got Eric coming up here next. Awakening after the Watchtower. Friends, we have so much fun with the duck. We really, really do. I think what we're going to do is bring back Watchtower trivia program and do it for like 2 hours. I think you guys would really enjoy that. We did it in the past, but this is, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe my computer screen lighting up tonight when we're going to do the duck. My goodness. So I'm going to just see if anybody else, I get a lot of people still wanting to speak up here tonight. So let's see. Would someone like to say something before we leave? Let's bring on 213. 213. What do you have to say, John? 213. Okay. I guess John's not on with us. Would anyone else like to say something? Yeah, John, you're on with us. You're on with us, John. Yes. What do you think?
Rick, how long have they used the field service time slips?
How long did they use it?
I mean, how long have they been using it? Is this something that happened in the 60s or the 70s, or was it before that?
Well, no, it was, I would say the 60s at least, but they don't use it anymore. You do know that, right?
Oh, I thought only the pioneers used it.
Well, they don't do time slips anymore. They have like a little slip, but all you do is just check the box. It's not like you have to put the amount of Bible studies, the amount of return visits, the amount of hours. You don't do that. They just check the box. Did you spend any time in the field ministry? You can just check the box, and they'll take it for what it's worth. It's not like it was, John.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really something.
Oh, yeah, that's something. I mean, it's not like it was. You had to fill out, well, I spent 7 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, whatever. That's not the way anymore. You just check the box. Did you spend any time in the ministry? Yes or no. Check the box. I mean, you could have spent 5 minutes, right, John? Check the box. I was in the ministry. Different world, John. It was so it's easier today. It's easier today to be a Jehovah's Witness. They got to make it easy. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember back in the day that elders would come to your house with a time
us, so it's easier today. Well, John, good to hear from you. Always good to hear from John. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, well, let's go. We got Eric. He's in the batting box here. He's ready to come up. So let's end the program here. So thank you, folks. I want to thank you for coming into JW World News. Didn't we have fun tonight? We had a blast on here. I really mean it. And I want to thank all those people that called in. Had a lot of people calling in. Thank you for calling in and being with us. Friends, I have to tell you, we have to keep moving forward. We got to keep exposing the Watchtower. This organization is getting out of control. You heard of some of the things they're doing tonight. Let's stop them. And thank you. Thomas, did you want to say something? You're on this, Thomas. Go ahead.
Oh, I couldn't get in there to make any comments on the prizes. I just couldn't get unmuted. I don't know what happened. I could have gotten that one.
Well, I thought we could crash the system, Thomas. We had so many people coming in. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I had a full computer screen, even more. So it might have been that you just couldn't get through. There's so many people coming through. Isn't that something? Huh? They like that game. You like that game, the Duck, Thomas?
It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because we can all relate to it. But, you know, someone coming on here for the first time and what the heck was that all about the Duck? We can all relate to it. We know the terms. We know the sayings of the Watchtower. We can put it together. Thank you, Thomas. All right, let's close it down here. We're going to go to Eric, our good friend Eric. He's normally from Rhode Island. That's where he's from. But he's down there in Nashville, Tennessee. He's a former Jehovah's Witness, and he's got a lot to say tonight. So let's end this program. Thank you for coming in. Keep standing tall. Don't you ever give in, up, or out. Keep waving that flag of victory. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower. Please turn off the new light. We'll see you in Eric's program coming up next on the same YouTube, Facebook channel. Thank you for being with us.